So the animators did some interesting sword shenanigans in Ghost of Yotei, and I've got to talk about it. I mean, I don't have to. It's not like ninjas invaded my home and are forcing me to make this video or anything. I mean, that would be silly, right? Anyway, so traditionally the way game designers usually do that is by simply cheating. They let the blade clip through the scabbard. Okay. But here, they actually do it properly. In the sense of plausibly. I'm going to put these gloves on, even though that's a blunt blade, but this way I don't have to clean and re-oil it after touching it. Touching it is required for this. The way the character does it in Ghost of Yotei is just adding a bit of momentum, catching the blade like that, and then there you go. Not a big deal, right? This, even with a sharp blade, you can do that. Like you do have to be careful with it, but don't do this at home, by the way. If I say you, I mean just a general nondescript person, fantasy samurai, whatever. But in theory, because I'm just holding onto the spine and pinching the blade with my fingers, I don't really come directly into contact with the blade, right? Okay, so I can fight from here. Now, what about putting it back? And I'm deliberately doing this without a cut, so you see that this is not through the magic of editing. Okay, so I have to look at it. But it works. Now, it's not as smooth and effortless as the character makes it seem, and who's not even looking. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I suppose if you were to practice it diligently for a long time, and you have the scabbard mounted in a pretty secure way where it's always in the same position, you might be able to actually pull that off even without looking, maybe. I should also mention the mount, because it looks like in the game it's a one-point attachment. That's how I did it here as well. Now, I don't like how much it flops around, but on the upside you can adjust it a little bit more. You can do it either way. So this works, right? So again, it's not quite as smooth as in the game, because in the game this is all pretty much one fluid motion. If I do it, I have to grab the blade here, so it's 1, 2, 3, right? Whereas it seems to be just 2 steps in the game. And I haven't even practiced this. This is really not that difficult. However, this is not a particularly large sword. Let's see what happens with a large sword. This custom katana here is pretty much too long to even be called a katana. It's almost a nodachi. And obviously there's absolutely no way to draw this conventionally. Not happening. Aha. There we go. Oh, come on, get in there. This is the part that's mostly shenanigans. It would require an unreasonable amount of practice that would obviously be better spent on actual fighting techniques. So we'll put it in the technically feasible but extremely difficult category. Not quite as smooth as the character in the game, but not terrible, right? Again, without practice too. Yeah. Not elegant, but yes, it works. The important thing, of course, is that it's fast when you draw it. You know, resheathing, whatever, you can take your time. It's interesting, I've talked about backdraw before, but this never occurred to me. So that's a smart solution. I like that. And I like it also because regardless of what you think about realism in games, hang on there. Regardless of what you think about realism in games, if you find it completely irrelevant, but fair enough, but this is objectively a better animation. Even just visually, this is better because it does not require clipping. It's just more technically proficient, if you will, in terms of animation. It looks more satisfying. It's just overall better. I appreciate that. Is it the only way to do this? No. The simplest way is to just pull it over your head and then draw it conventionally, which is slightly slower, but really not much. I haven't practiced it, I haven't optimized it. All I have to go by is my experience in handling swords generally, and yeah, it's not a problem. Now with this sword length, it's technically not necessary. I could wear this fairly comfortably on the hip. I can draw it from there too. It's not a big deal. What about a sword that's even bigger? Now that's a sword. It's not actually that much longer in all fairness, but it's pretty large. Okay, now I'm definitely glad to have gloves because there is no blunt spine to catch. This is double-edged and very sharp. In other words, I'm gonna have to pinch the flat of the blade pretty firmly and not allow it to slide. All right. There we go. Little scary, not gonna lie, but yeah, it works. This might be a little difficult to put back because it's a little heftier. Okay, with this one I'm really struggling to resheath it because there's a lot more weight here. So if I hold it too low, it just wants to tip. Yeah, definitely more awkward, but still works. In this case, even though I can just about draw it from the hip, it's not the easiest, and this is not a sword that would be particularly comfortable to carry on the hip. I mean, there's a large guard and a long handle that sticks out, and it sticks out quite a bit in the back too. You could do it, but I can also see wanting to put it on the back the way they did most of the time, at least from what we see in depictions, generally just like this. But it's also not super convenient. Neither is carrying a pole arm, which you do have to carry like this, so it is what it is, right? This is not exactly a civilian, everyday carry, self-defense kind of sword. By the way, last time I talked about backdraw many years ago, there were some objections that you're doing it wrong if you try to draw it from the same side, that you have to draw it crosswise. Okay. Am I doing great, guys? Depending on the attachment, that's right. If your attachment point is fairly high up, like this, then you can just pull it forward and draw like this, right? That works. Even with a longer sword, if you have a one-point attachment fairly high up and you're able to tilt it like this, then you can probably draw it from here, although that's starting to get difficult at this length. By the way, I almost forgot that Geralt in the first Witcher game does something very similar. The animation is a little janky here comparatively, and there isn't even an actual scabbard, but they thought of the logistics of the draw, so to speak, so that's pretty cool. Personally, I love this kind of attention to detail. Whether or not it's realistic, it's just neat to see that they thought of that and just put a little bit more effort into the animation to make it look cleaner, more convincing, whatever, and it just looks better, just aesthetically. So whoever made that animation for Ghost of Yotei, you did a great job. Anyway, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and take care. Again, don't try this at home. Don't slice your fingers. Let the professional idiot do it.